Next is Mary. When she wanted answers, she picked up the phone.
I wanted a local perspective on plans, so I called myhealthpolicy.com and done. Switched to a better plan.
And Michael.
I met with a local licensed insurance agent face-to-face, and done.
Go to myhealthpolicy.com to compare top-rated Medicare Advantage plans in your area, including $0 premium plans, or call 1-800-GO-START. That's 1-800-GO-START. Meredith Vieira is a paid endorser. KF Agency operates myhealthpolicy.com, not connected with or endorsed by the U.S. government or the federal Medicare program. A licensed insurance agent may call.
Race fans, it's time to buckle in and listen to the fastest hour in racing radio. Your driver is a multi-time NASCAR winner and Hall of Famer Mark Martin. We cover racing, grassroots, history, we bench race, we talk life, and most importantly, we smash the loud pedal. It's time to turn some laps on the Mark Martin Podcast.
Episode number 47 of the Mark Martin Podcast, and we're going to get into the years 2012 and 2013. It's a wrap on Mark Martin's NASCAR racing career. But before we end the chronological podcast order, make sure to get onto that website, markmartinpod.com, markmartinpod.com. Hit that connect button. Get with us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at markmartinpod, or hit that listen button and subscribe on your favorite podcast player, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. But Mark, chronological order, this has been a long run of podcasts in spanning a long career in NASCAR, but we're going to wrap it up with 2012 and 2013.
Yeah. So as we kind of led in the last podcast, talking a little bit about Michael Waltrip texting me and asking me what I was doing, and I text him back, trying to be funny, looking for something with a wood grain steering wheel. He said,
the Angels are trying to make it 2 in a row.
And
Hi again, everybody. I'm Dwayne Kuiper. Welcome to tonight's game. With me, as always, former 20-game winner Mike Krukow.
No
Thanks, Kuiper. It looks like another great night for baseball.
The starting pitcher, Pedro Martinez.
Drive the other races. Brian Vickers.
This game features the Anaheim Angels and the Boston Red Sox.
That was great. I like Brian a lot.
Center field.
My first order was to come to grips with, is this car going to be fast enough? And I started thinking about it, and it looked like it might be, maybe. They had a hell of an operation, and the car had been hauling butt some, especially qualifying. David Rudman had been driving it, and not always so good in the race. Not as good in the race usually as qualifying, but pretty awesome. So, pretty awesome qualifying. So anyway, I would have been more comfortable with. I didn't know Rodney Childers, and hadn't had my eye on him, and I was a little uncomfortable. I'd be more comfortable working with somebody I'd known, and had that discussion with Michael and Ty Norris, and they're like, do you know Rodney? And I'm like, no. And they said, well, you need to get to know him. So as soon as I started talking to Rodney, it was like, oh, hell yeah. Yeah. Rodney's, he's an ex-driver himself. He had a work ethic that was second to none. And since this, he has really made a name. He had already made a name for himself. I just hadn't been paying enough attention. There were times when I drove other cars that out-qualified me that shouldn't have, and it pissed me off. With lesser equipment, drivers that I didn't think were on the same level, school equipment that was nowhere near the same level, and out-qualified me, and it would piss me off. And I found out later some of those cars were crew chiefed by Rodney Childers, and I wasn't paying enough attention back then. But anyway, yeah, Rodney's the guy. And gosh, these guys on this team were so freaking excited. And it was the most comfortable environment I'd ever been in.
On the ground.
Even more than Hendrick Motorsports, because it was casual. It wasn't formal feeling. When you went to the shop, everybody worked, but everybody was cool and light. And you know how Michael is. Wasn't anybody uptight. Ty Norris was incredible. This was an incredible organization with, I don't know, I think around 200 employees. God, they had a dozen engineers. Clint Boyer was going to be my teammate, along with Martin Truex Jr. Both incredible guys. Brian Patty, Chad Johnston, crew chiefing over there as well. And it was the dream team. It was a dream operation. It was so much fun to be around my crew guys. Aaron's was a great sponsor. Great people. Toyota people embraced me. Chevrolet shunned me. I mean, I was always an outsider when I drove for Rick Hendrick because of my 23 years with Ford. But Toyota embraced me. And so it was a very comfortable time, most comfortable time in my career, coming right out of the gate. We went right to Daytona and ran 10th. That was a nice start. And then the second race of the season, we go to Phoenix and sit on the pole. And I mean, it's so freaking much fun, so exciting. I don't think I knew I was going to sit on the pole until I did it. I didn't know that we were that good. And we ran 9th in the race. And we just keep cranking out top 5 starts, and top 10 finishes. Sometimes you try to make a hit, and then we get to Richmond, the 9th race of this season, and we set on another pole and run 8. So, I mean, it's just, the car is just a freaking rocket ship. Go to Charlotte, qualify 6. We go to Dover, my favorite place. And we won the pole. And that was really exciting because I remember that lap, my hand shaking, and I remember Michael coming over and him saying something funny and us laughing. I got a picture of us laughing real hard. And I think we beat Jimmy Johnson for the pole, if I remember correctly. It was a big lap. It was just a big deal. Then we go to Pocono and qualify 6th and run 2nd, which is one of my 6 times I think I ran 2nd there at Pocono. Ran really good there. Then we go to Michigan, and I got to tell you, the second Michigan race, we got everybody covering something pitiful. I mean, 3/10 a lap. We're fastest in the first practice, fastest qualifying on the pole, fastest in happy hour, and led every lap until I got tangled up in that 2 lap cars coming off of turn 4, got together and checked up. I had to check up, and Casey Kane got in the back of me, and I slid down to the infield and couldn't keep it off the inside pit wall, and had a very close call there. That could have probably been really, really bad for me. I remember looking at that wall thinking, oh, this could hurt, because I was hitting the end of the wall with the driver's door. But it just hit directly behind the rear cage post. So it penetrated nearly halfway into the car. And that absorbed the energy. If it hadn't have been for hitting right there, if it hit in the door bars, the car would have stopped immediately, and it would have been devastating on my body. I'm not sure how things would have turned out, but it was like a, kind of a weird deal. I didn't even know how bad it was until I saw a replay when I got home. But we continued on, Hall and Bud everywhere. that car was just a rocket ship. So much fun at the competition meetings, so much fun at the appearances.
Just missed.
Second overweight race, we run third. We'll go to Charlotte, sit on the outside pole and run sixth. We go to Kansas, sit on the outside pole. I mean, it's just,
There's a strike.
this is just a blast. You know, having the time of my life working with these guys, and
Well, you talk about making a good pitch right there. He was really backed up against the wall.
it seems like
and then
we've
he
really
digs
got
deep,
magic.
makes great
I
pitches,
mean, our
and
race
gets the
team
strikeout.
was so excited and so pumped up, and just loved doing what we were doing, and loved having me drive
Throws it
their
over
car.
for a strike.
This guy usually
and
pitches deep into the
I
game
love
whenever he
driving their
starts.
car.
You will not see him tire
I
out
love,
very
you know,
often.
we were having a good
They
time.
check with the third base umpire.
So we go into
Got him with the
2013,
curveball.
and I don't know. The best way to describe it is
With 1 inning played,
we tend to
Boston
lose a little
trails
bit of the
5-1.
magic. And, you know, that's
Now
kind
on
of
to the bottom of the order.
He's out there in the
the
mound
best
with
way that I
zero
could
stuff
put
in
it.
him.
There's strike one.
He showed
We
excellent
run
command
good.
to strike right on the edge of the zone.
But we just don't run as good as we
Batter could
did
not lay off the
the
corner
year
strike.
before.
Nice fastball there.
And as the season wears on, I'm starting to
No
really
swing.
doubt
He's thrown 51
myself.
innings this season, and batters own this guy with a
And-
season average of
I
343.
mean, I'm having a good time, no doubt. But I'm
Martinez
starting really
missed
to
the
doubt
zone,
myself
and it's 2-2.
now. It seems like Brian is running really
Hit towards the shortstop.
probably better than I am in the car,
They make the play.
and I'm just not satisfied with my performance. It's just not what I was laying it down in 2012 at 53 years old.
This lefty is
Nobody
consistent
can
in
say
the
I
batter's
wasn't getting
box
it
as
done.
He takes his swings.
And we came really close to winning races,
Martinez
in
throws him with
2012.
a hook for a strike.
but we weren't really
wins
close to
and 2
winning
losses
races in
this season.
2013.
He's
And as
going
we
back at the track,
prep
the wall.
toward, you know, the mid-season,
He's on first with a
or
base hit.
just past mid-season,
Throws up the fastball,
you know,
but the
I'd
batter was ready
seen
for it,
that
and he hit it hard.
the things were just weren't. It was time for me to give it up.
He's the kind of guy
I mean, it
managers
was just,
just
it was
love.
time.
He's pitching
I
the
made,
big,
you know, I
usually
made
give
up my
it
mind that I didn't want to drive race cars anymore.
Great pitch on the black.
I didn't want to
Would've been a
race
close strike, even if the batter
Xfinity.
didn't
I
swing
didn't want to
for it.
race truck. I didn't want to race. I just didn't want to race anymore.
And a nice swing, but
I
he
had
hits it foul.
rode that horse as long as I could ride it. And Brian won
That's
up in
3
Cloud, New
strikeouts.
Hampshire, and I was so happy for the team and those guys. And I felt like that Brian needed that car full time. He didn't need to be sharing it. He'd gotten the job done, been getting the job done, gotten the job done, and he
Fastball
deserved that
down in the
car for
zone,
2014.
strike.
And I needed to
Strikes
be
out
out of the
8 for
picture.
9 innings. A pretty
So,
impressive total.
When Tony got hurt, Tony
Line
Stewart
drive
got
turned
hurt,
on and hit to the right
and
side.
they were going to have to find somebody to
Heading into
replace
the bottom
him.
of the second. The score
I thought,
is
well,
1
this
to
is a
nothing.
perfect deal because Brian can have the car full time the rest of the year,
Mahomes comes to the
and I can
plate.
run these last dozen races or so. You know, for Tony, fill in for
Colon throws
Tony,
a strike with a slider.
and that will work out the best.
Didn't find the plate for a
And we were
ball.
able to work all that out.
Sometimes you try to make the hitter chase your pitch. That's
It
exactly
all
what
made
you saw right
sense.
there.
It was the right thing for Michael
Great
Wofford
pitch, he hit the
Racing. It was the
corner.
right thing for Brian
He
Vickers.
averaged about 5
It also
Ks
was the
per
right
9
thing for
innings.
me.
A respectable number.
I love Tony
That's
Stewart
3
with all my heart.
strikeouts.
It was an honor
That
for
batter
me,
never had a
to
chance.
me, to have him, you know, let me drive his car
The next batter is
while he was
Lowe.
healing.
On an occasion,
And it was a
this hitter
cool
really doesn't hit for
experience
average, but he'll get the
to
job
finish
done.
off the year. Now, we
First thing you
ran
notice
like
about this
shit.
pitcher is his size. He is a big
That-
fella.
we
partner.
didn't run very good, but Tony wasn't running very good either
Throws it over for a
when he
strike.
got out of the car, with exception of pulling off one win
The count's 1 and
somewhere
2.
recently.
He went
For the
right
most
at the
part,
batter with his
car
curveball.
hadn't
He
been
got the swing and
performing, and I was really surprised I was not able
It's
to
hit
get
back up the middle.
the performance of the car up any. In fact, just wallowed in misery those last 10 races. But it was a fun experience to be a part of Stewart-Haas and
Strike at the bell.
work with Tony and Haas and all the people over there. And it was a nice experience for me because they all treated me with so much respect. It was amazing to be treated with the kind of respect that I've been treated in the last 5 years of my career.
The Medicare annual election period deadline is coming soon. I'm Meredith Vieira, here with examples of people who found the key to the right coverage at myhealthpolicy.com. Meet Larry. He likes doing things online.
I took my time and found the best Medicare Advantage plan for me at myhealthpolicy.com.
Next is Mary. When she wanted answers, she picked up the phone.
I wanted a local perspective on plans, so I called myhealthpolicy.com.
And finally, Michael.
I prefer face-to-face, so I chose myhealthpolicy.com and enrolled on the spot.
Go to myhealthpolicy.com to learn about top-rated Medicare Advantage plans in your area, including $0 premium plans. Or call 1-800-GO-START. That's 1-800-GO-START. myhealthpolicy.com. Meredith Vieira is a paid endorser. KF Agency operates myhealthpolicy.com, not connected with or endorsed by the U.S. government or the federal Medicare program. A licensed insurance agent may call.
The Medicare annual election period deadline is coming soon. I'm Meredith Vieira, here with examples of people who found the key to the right coverage at myhealthpolicy.com. Meet Larry. He likes doing things online.
I took my time and found the best Medicare Advantage plan for me at myhealthpolicy.com.
Next is Mary. When she wanted answers, she picked up the phone.
I wanted a local perspective on plans, so I called myhealthpolicy.com.
And finally, Michael.
I prefer face-to-face, so I chose myhealthpolicy.com and enrolled on the spot.
Go to myhealthpolicy.com to learn about top-rated Medicare Advantage plans in your area, including $0 premium plans. Or call 1-800-GO-START. That's 1-800-GO-START. myhealthpolicy.com. Meredith Vieira is a paid endorser. KF Agency operates myhealthpolicy.com, not connected with or endorsed by the U.S. government or the federal Medicare program. A licensed insurance agent may call.
By people who I thought the world of. And that really means a lot. It still does to this day. It's hard to believe. You could convince me that was just a dream, that it really didn't happen. And I look back on all the success that I had.
He delivers.
And you could convince me that didn't happen either.
One ball,
because,
2 strikes.
Like I said, all the way through these podcasts, I wasn't worth a damn at anything else. And I'm still not today. I'm not worth a damn at anything else. At anything. And it's amazing that I was able to have the kind of success I had. So amazing that I can't even believe it really happened. And I'm grateful for it, but I don't revel in it. I look forward and move forward and go straight away, straight ahead. And I'm grateful for the experience I had and the people that I got to work with, some of the greatest people in NASCAR history. And I had to do some amazing things in my life, but I have another life now. And
here comes the first pitch of
I just, instead of looking back, I continue to look forward, just like I always did through all those years. I keep my eyes going forward, looking ahead, and enjoying the next chapters in my life.
So speaking of the next chapters in your life, after 2013, after you called it a wrap, 2017 NASCAR Hall of Fame, and went through all that ceremony and the prestige that comes with that. Let's have a little bit of a recap on the NASCAR Hall of Fame.
Well, I was eligible for the 16 Hall of Fame, And, you know, I didn't expect to get
try
in.
to make the hitter chase your pitch. That's exactly what you saw right there.
And I did.
With this guy
And then
the infielder
in
should be on their
17,
toes.
I
This
was
guy's
like,
got some great wheels.
well, I'm not going to sit around and worry about it. If I was voting, I wouldn't vote myself in. There are other more important people that need to go in before I would ever go in, for sure. And I didn't think I was worthy. So I'd never been to the Indy 500, and one of the things on my bucket list was to go to the Indy 500, and it was the 100th running of the Indy 500. So I planned on taking the motorhome. Arlene, obviously didn't go. So I planned on taking the motorhome up there and getting it parked on Wednesday and hanging out there all weekend. And Wednesday at 5 p.m. or whatever, 5 or 6 p.m. was when they announced who got in, and who were the inductees for 2017. And I was outside. I got there. Indy got Coach Park. Got outside, washing the front of the coach, getting all the bugs off the front of the coach. And my phone just freaking blows up. It was crazy. And I'm in. I couldn't believe it. But now I was kind of in a jam because, you know, I didn't have my plane. I didn't have a pilot anymore. I didn't have my plane with me, and I didn't have a pilot anymore, and I was just parked at Indy in my motorhome. So we started having to make some plans, and I got to be around Indy. I think it was on Thursday. I got to hang out at Indy, and that was fun. But then Friday I had to fly to Charlotte and do all kind of stuff. It was one day or the other. I had to fly to Charlotte and do all the stuff, you know, the press stuff and all that about being inducted. And then I flew back to Indy and got to be at Indy for the race. So, you know, I didn't get to hang out as much as I wanted, but I did get to go to a couple of events. And the things I remember about that Indy race was I went to an event on one of the evenings, Thursday evening or whatever it was, and A.J. Foyt was there. All the greats were there. And A.J. just kept wanting to talk to me. He was just chewing my ear off. And A.J. and I weren't close. There was a good age difference between the two of us. And I raced against him some. But I never really talked to him a whole lot. But he viewed me as an old-timer like him. And we just had the grandest talks. And, you know, I knew so many people from the 80s when I was still ASA racing. And from IROC racing. Danny Sullivan and R.A. Lyondike. The Unsers Jr. and Unser Sr. and all these guys that are legends in the sport, and they all were so friendly, so respectful, and so much fun to see and get a chance to talk to. It was an incredible experience and one of the most incredible weekends of my life, you know, because of being able to be inducted into the Hall of Fame, being an inductee, and also being there and seeing all these great, legendary drivers and talking with them and having so much fun. And the only other weekend that I can think of in my racing career that topped that was the induction itself at the end of January in 17. That was definitely the crown jewel of my career, without question.
The bases are loaded with one out.
It's just unbelievable that a kid from Arkansas was standing at a dirt track in the fall of 1973 and said to his dad, let's build me one of these things for next year. Went all the way to the NASCAR Hall of Fame. I couldn't believe it. And one other short story about that Hall of Fame thing. I wasn't big on practicing my speeches. I had delivered my speeches from the heart. Most of them weren't written down. But this was a real important speech for me because it was my last chance in my lifetime that I would have to thank all the people that made that happen for me. And I would encourage you to look up on YouTube and find my, the YouTube video of my speech, Hall of Fame induction speech. Because it was very important to me. Those people are why I made it. And without the people that I named, and many more, I never would have made it. And it's a big deal, really a big deal to me, to thank those guys. But anyway, they wanted me to practice my speech. And I know now why they wanted it, because they wanted to time it, because you only had
3-2 count.
7 minutes. I didn't know that. And I wrote my speech. I had help writing the speech. Kevin Woods helped me, wrote the speech. I told him the things I wanted. I made the bullet points. I gave them to him. And he made the words sound right to it. He's a terrific writer and a terrific friend of mine. And so I had this speech with all these people thanked in it. And I had studied it and memorized it. Well, the day before the induction, you come practice. So I came, and before I even practiced, they wanted to see it. I said, this is too long. You only have 7 minutes. I already timed it. It took me 15 minutes to do it. You only have 7 minutes. I said, I can't do it. I can't do it. You can't induct me into the Hall of Fame then, because I can't do a speech that short. And there, we'll help you write it. Well, and they rewrote it. We collaborated on it. We rewrote it, and got it much better. And of course, I didn't read it. It was on the teleprompter, but I didn't read the speech because I knew everything. I couldn't read it, or you could tell I was reading it. So I went through it, and of course, I added the things in there that I wanted to add, and it was maybe more like 9 minutes, but they couldn't stop me once I got started. But at least it wasn't 15 minutes. But that was a very stressful event leading up to it until I got the speech delivered. And then after that, it was like winning a race. Huge relief.
So after the Hall of Fame ceremony and post 2013, the museum in Batesville at Mark Martin Ford, people can go and enjoy that. You've up until a couple years ago, you had Mark Martin Day. Done that at various times of the year, but you've kind of transcended that. You're off to, like you said, a different part of your life now. Montana, for the most part, sometimes in California, kind of all over the place.
The next batter is
just living the dream, living my life, working on my motor coach, keeping things clean, tricking out stuff, Mr. Fix-It, visiting the family, and just loving life. I don't have time for a job. I really do enjoy doing what I'm doing. And love the time that I'm spending with Arlene and friends. We've made some new friends and a lot of different things. So I'm asked a lot, do you miss racing? And I don't. I don't miss it. I was 40 years. I loved it. It was every ounce of my soul and my being.
Is the next hitter.
But now I've moved on to other things, and that was a long season in my life. But I'm not a racer anymore, and
he's on with a leadoff single.
I'm just moving on to the next chapter.
There are a ton of options.
Speaking on that, you're not a racer anymore, but you have reconnected with Roush Racing and Jack, and you've done some things over the past couple of years. Talk about, post your racing career with Roush, and then obviously you raced for other folks after that, other teams. But you reconnected after that.
Well, Jack and I remained friends, and are blood brothers, and always will be. And they have asked me, they've wanted me to get involved with their program.
Lower is ahead 1-0.
And I've tried to be involved with the competition meetings. I've been to their shop quite a bit, try to help them get better, but it's
after 4.5. Boston
my heart's not in it. I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to compete. I don't even want to play a game of Monopoly or a game of cards. I just don't want to compete anymore. I relate that with stress, and
swing and a miss.
I just don't want that kind of stress anymore. So we remain close, and I have done some things with them, spent some time at their shop and all that stuff at one period of time. But they needed more than I was able to give, and so I'm not doing that. I'm not participating in their performance meetings or anything like that anymore. So I'm just kind of out of racing. I'm a race fan. I love watching it.
So once again, that's going to put a wrap on this chronological order of the podcast. Nice companion piece to this is actually a book called Mark Martin Driven to Race. It came out on August 1, 1997. It's by Bob Zeller. You can find that on Amazon and order that up. You can read that. You can go back on these podcasts, listen to the certain years, and it kind of makes it a nice, nice companion to what we've done here on the podcast. But Mark, we've been on a run with these chronological podcasts, but we're going to add to it even more. And as we've said before, have some fun now and do some things with interviews, kind of like we've done in the past, and get some of those personalities that were part of your life and part of your career that spanned over 40 years.
Yeah, I look forward to it, and I hope that everyone's enjoyed, this, and we'll revisit stories. There's lots of stuff that I haven't told because I can't remember as we go through, but it was kind of important to me for the fans that are interested to lay this stuff down and get that handled. And as we have visitors and guests on the shows and different things, when we do that, a lot of other things will come up, and we'll just touch on different periods or different events that happened that probably didn't get covered here in our year by year kind of pods that we've done.
So once again, race fans, that will do it for episode number 47 of the Mark Martin Podcast. It puts a wrap on Mark's racing career, but we're going to be back with different podcasts coming up here very, very shortly. Fan questions, driver interviews, and a lot more fun. But again, that'll do it for episode number 47 of the Mark Martin Podcast.
Thank you for subscribing and listening to the Mark Martin Podcast. Remember to give us a 5-star rating in your app store. Connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Mark Martin POD. The Mark Martin Podcast is a production of the Accelerated Podcast Network.
Lowell makes the catch for the out.
The Medicare annual election period deadline is coming soon. I'm Meredith Vieira, here with examples of people who found the key to the right coverage at myhealthpolicy.com. Meet Larry. He likes doing things online.
I took my time and found the best Medicare Advantage plan for me at myhealthpolicy.com.
Next is Mary. When she wanted answers, she picked up the phone.
I wanted a local perspective on plans, so I called myhealthpolicy.com.
And finally, Mike.
I prefer face-to-face, so I chose myhealthpolicy.com and enrolled on the spot.
Go to myhealthpolicy.com to learn about top-rated Medicare Advantage plans in your area, including $0 premium plans. Or call 1-800-GO-START. That's 1-800-GO-START. myhealthpolicy.com. Meredith Vieira is a paid endorser. KF Agency operates myhealthpolicy.com, not connected with or endorsed by the U.S. government or the federal Medicare program. A licensed insurance agent may call.
Race fans, it's time to buckle in and listen to the fastest hour in racing radio. Your driver is a multi-time NASCAR winner and Hall of Famer Mark Martin. We cover racing, grassroots, history, we bench race, we talk life, and most importantly, we smash the loud pedal. It's time to turn some laps on the Mark Martin Podcast.
Episode number 46 of the Mark Martin Podcast, and we're going to go into the years 2010 and 2011. But before we do that, make sure to hit the website, markmartinpod.com, markmartinpod.com. Get all the old episodes. Make sure to hit that connect button and hit us up on social media at markmartinpod on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Make sure to go and subscribe on your favorite podcast player, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Make sure to hit up that YouTube, hit that subscribe button, help us get our numbers up. But Mark, we're going to go into the years 2010 and 2011. Rolling at Hendrick Motorsports. Tell us about those years on the Mark Martin Podcast.
Well, the first thing that comes to mind, Barry, is really to talk about how the scene gets set for 2010 after an amazing 2009. And, you know, just the incredible honor it was to drive for Rick Hendrick and work with all the incredible employees at Hendrick Motorsports and have teammates, you know, Jimmy Johnson and Jeff Gordon and Dale Earnhardt Jr. For teammates. And, you know, the debriefs at the racetrack when we would all get together, and then the competition meetings on Tuesday, every Tuesday, were just incredible. Chad Canals.
Sometimes you try to make the hitter change your pits. That's exactly what you saw right
Steve Letarte, you know, just Talon. These guys were just incredible guys to work with. So, we had a fantastic season in 2009, and Junior had a very dismal season in 2009. And so the heads at Hendrick Motorsports, I'm sure, got together with Rick on how can we got to do something to get Junior going better. And our deal was perfect, but they decided to take Chris Seroy, who was our lead engineer, and make him the lead engineer over there at Junior's car. And, you know, when you really think about it, that shouldn't made a dramatic difference. The only thing was, it was a little disheartening to have anything in your team adjusted after you damn near won the championship, 7 poles in 5 races and everything else. But that was pretty disappointing. I get it, I understand why they did it. And I understand the logic behind it, that you wouldn't think it would make that much difference in the performance of the 5 car. However, we'll get into this season, and I'll let people judge for themselves. I still look back on it and think that Alan was so incredible, and we had good engineering to step up in the place, and I didn't really ever see any real reason that we should have lost the magic that we had. So with that behind us, we'll just start by going to Daytona. And as you recall, in Alan's car, the first year, 2009 at Daytona, they put me on the outside pole. And so in 2010, they did one better and got us the pole for the Daytona 500, which was pretty darn incredible. It was a really, really special experience, something that I had been envious of a lot of different people who had fast enough cars to do that when I never even had a shot before I got the 5 car. So that was really cool to do, and we protected that car all throughout speed weeks, and we wound up in the race. We wound up running okay. I just didn't feel like we got the car to handle quite as good as I did the 01 car in 2007. In 2007, I had the handling. I had the kind of car that you could win the race with, and damn near did. I just never quite comfortable in traffic enough to be able to really muscle what I needed to do. And so we wound up 12th, which was good. I mean, that was okay. Nothing wrong with that. Finished 12th in the 500, and then we go to Fontana and run 4th, and then we go to Vegas the next week and run 4th. So we're looking really good. I mean, we're off to a good start. Doesn't look like we've missed a beat. Qualifying in the top 10 every week. And then we go to Atlanta and qualify 4th. And, we get in a crash at Atlanta. That kind of stuff happens. And then we go to Bristol and we qualify 13th, which is not that bad. But something happens. I don't remember what, but we wound up in 35th place. We had some kind of issue. And then, we go on to Phoenix, and something's starting to kind of show a little bit of an ugly head, because we qualified 23rd at Phoenix when we had been sitting on the pole out there. But we did run 4th in the race, so that was pretty damn outstanding. And then we go to Texas and we run 6th, but we qualify 30th. And that's starting to show this kind of trend that we've lost some speed from where we were the year before. And so we keep soldiering on. And as we soldier through the season, we crank out a lot of finishes in the teens and a lot of qualifying efforts in the teens. And that's starting to be kind of a trend. We're beginning to lose our speed. We start off the season on the high note, just where we left off in 09. But as we start getting into the grind of the mid-season, we're starting to lose our edge, lose our speed. And it's really, it's real competitive, and it's just really hard to put your finger on why that happened, but it did. We start running in the teens, and even go to my best racetrack, which is Dover, the second Dover race, and we ran 12th at Dover, for crying out loud. That's terrible. And the first Dover race, we ran 15th. So, this is my best place. This is where I'd put a top 10 in when I don't have a top 10 car. So it's really showing some problems. So somehow or another, the 30th race of the season, we pull out a 6th place at Fontana, but I'm not sure how we did that. I don't remember the details about that, but I do remember that we did miss the chase, and based on all the poor, the teens, finishing in the teens, and not enough top 5s to overcome that. So we get out of Fontana and we go to Charlotte and we run 14th. The Red Sox, that's kind of a disappointment. They're going to the pen. And then we go to Martinsville. We qualify 21st, and we get in an accident in that race, and it mashes. I think it mashes up the back of the car some, and they wind up pulling the rear bumper cover off the car. And there's a long green flag run at the end of that. And I got a lap down, but we got the lap back, and we restarted in the back of the lead lap with a long run. I'm going to just say, I'm just guessing. I'm going to say with a 100-lap run, 100 laps to go. And it runs green that entire time. And I drive from the back of the pack all the way to second. And I'm beating Denny 3/10 a lap. Every lap, 3/10 on a 21-second racetrack. I mean, I'm passing cars like they got flat tires. It's unbelievable. Toward the end of the race, the right rear tire was just like new, and everybody else's was like Fords. I mean, I was just killing them. And just a couple more laps, and I would have caught Denny. I actually did basically nearly catch Denny. And then the race was over. But if I'd have had 2 or 3 more laps, we could have caught him and passed him. We were murdering the field at this point. And I'm not sure if not having the bumper cover on there did that, or if it maybe pushed the deck lid up a little bit. We had a little bit more rear downforce, or what the deal was. But whatever it was, our right rear tire didn't wear out. And of course, everybody's does, and it just destroys you at Martinsville. You lose all that forward drive off the corner. We just about won that race, and that was something that we really needed. And it didn't work out. And then we go a couple weeks later. We go to Texas, and we run third at Texas. And then 8th at Phoenix the next week. So, we're off, but we're probably not where we need to be. And it's a pretty big disappointment. And at this point in time, I'm totally left out of this conversation, just like I was with our lead engineer, Chris. But over the winter, they have a conversation about what can we do, to make our program better, the brain-powered Hendrick Motorsports, and they decide that putting Lance McGrew as my crew chief and taking Alan and putting him with Jeff Gordon, because Jeff, Jimmy was just outperforming Jeff, and to be real honest with you, it just didn't seem right. I mean, it seemed like Jeff should be performing on the same level as Jimmy Johnson for sure.
The Medicare annual election period deadline is coming soon. I'm Meredith Vieira, here with examples of people who found the key to the right coverage at myhealthpolicy.com. Meet Larry. He likes doing things online.
I took my time and found the best Medicare Advantage plan for me at myhealthpolicy.com.
Next is Mary. When she wanted answers, she picked up the phone.
I wanted a local perspective on plans, so I called myhealthpolicy.com.
And finally, Michael.
I prefer face-to-face, so I chose myhealthpolicy.com and enrolled on the spot.
Go to myhealthpolicy.com to learn about top-rated Medicare Advantage plans in your area, including $0 premium plans. Or call 1-800-GO-START. That's 1-800-GO-START. myhealthpolicy.com. Meredith Vieira is a paid endorser. KF Agency operates myhealthpolicy.com, not connected with or endorsed by the U.S. government or the federal Medicare program. A licensed insurance agent may call.
The Medicare annual election period deadline is almost here. I'm Meredith Vieira, here with examples of people who started their search for coverage at myhealthpolicy.com. Meet Larry. He likes doing things online, so he started
at myhealthpolicy.com. I took my time and found the coverage I was looking for. And
he's around
done.
Third.
Next is Mary. When she wanted answers, she picked up the phone.
I wanted a local perspective on plans, so I called myhealthpolicy.com and done. Switched to a better plan.
And Michael.
I met with a local licensed insurance agent face-to-face. And done.
Go to myhealthpolicy.com to compare top-rated Medicare Advantage plans in your area, including $0 premium plans, or call 1-800-GO-START. That's 1-800-GO-START. Meredith Vieira is a paid endorser. KF Agency operates myhealthpolicy.com, not connected with or endorsed by the U.S. government or the federal Medicare program. A licensed insurance agent may call.
He crushes it.
I mean, logic would say that. And there again, I see the logic. The logic is, let's make Jeff Gordon better. Mark's whatever, old. And, you know, at this point in time, it would have been pretty cool if I'd have just quit and hung up my helmet at the end of 2009 after running second in the points. But for sure, if I was looking back, I would have, when they made that crew chief change on my team, it probably would have been the best thing for me to hang up the helmet and let Casey Kane have the car, or let that Casey have the car and let me go over there and run the Red Bull thing. There was a long thing that went on through this season, all the way back up at Indianapolis in the middle of the year. There was talk about, you know, Casey Kane driving the 5 car. And, you know, I had already told Rick that I wouldn't re-sign after 2011. I told him that in early 2010, and I told him, I said, I will not drive past 2011. And he's like, we want you to stay. We want you to drive as long as you'll drive. Or we want you, you know. And I'm like, dude, you need to get Casey Kane. Casey Kane. You need to get Casey Kane. And he said, well, we want you to drive as long as you'll drive. And I said, well, look, I'll drive through 2011, but you need to get a contract right now with Casey and do something with him in 2011 so he can take the car over in 2012. And so that's what Rick did. But there were some rumblings that, you know, Casey was going to get the 5 car. And what Rick did is did a deal with Jay Fry and Red Bull Racing and put Casey over there. And to be honest with you, that would have reunited me with Jay, who was in charge of the 2007 season, and we were great buddies. And I should have gone there if I wanted to finish out my year. I should have just did that and let Casey go ahead and have the 5 car. I didn't know that. I didn't know Rick wanted that. I knew Rick kept telling me that he wanted me to drive the 5 car.
Good start to the inning.
And so that's what we did. And that brings us into 2011, which basically a nightmare. Just a really tough year. We just didn't perform. We couldn't get the car going. Lance and I, you know, we worked hard and we got along, but we just couldn't find the magic. The performance in 2010 wasn't that far off. Pretty damn good. But if you look at it, only got 1 pole, and that was Daytona. And when you look at that tells a story. Because my qualifying always shows the kind of cars that I have. We go into 2011, hell, I get 2 poles in 2011. But one of those was in July, and the other one was in Talladega. So those aren't real poles. Those are car poles, not. Those are, you know, they're restrictor plate poles. They don't count for nothing. That's all team. That's not. That's a different kind of car than everything else. So I don't get a pole at the regular races. You know, they probably my best qualifying all year was like, well, I did qualify 3rd, 4th, 5th, few of those, but for the most part, in the teens and 20s. And for the most part, our finishes are teens and 20s. And it's just It's a tough, dismal season where we just can't find. We've lost even more speed from 2010. 2010 was an acceptable season, even though it was a difficult one. We didn't win. 2011 just outright sucked. And Lance and I got along. We worked hard. We tried hard. We studied. We did everything that we could do, but we just. Everybody did everything they could, but it just was major subpar. You know what it looked like? It looked like Dale Jr.'s kind of. It looked a lot like Dale Jr.'s performance had looked before, making the change and putting Chris, our engineer, over there with Jr. And actually, that didn't help Jr. that much either. So the thing that seemed to help Jr. was putting Letarte over there. And they gave Steve Letarte to Dale Jr. That seemed to be a good fit, and that seemed to work better, and they started picking up their performance. Of course, I just went down the tubes. So that kind of brings us up. The majority of my memories are, it's just pretty sad year 2011 was to be driving for Rick Hendrick and finishing, in the teens and 20s, racing your ass off. I mean, like you wouldn't believe, for what I consider mid-pack finishes. Just a tough time. In hindsight, I certainly would have handled things differently. But when you're going through those things, and Rick Hendrick's telling you, I want you to drive. I just wish now that I'd have gone ahead and said, hey, look, go ahead and put Casey in the car, and I'll go drive over there for Jay Fry for Red Bull Dale. Hell, Casey won a race in the car. They ran pretty good over there. So I probably would have had a better performance in 2011 if I would have done something different. This just did not work for us.
The Medicare annual election period deadline is coming soon. I'm Meredith Vieira, here with examples of people who found the key to the right coverage at myhealthpolicy.com. Meet Larry. He likes doing things online.
I took my time and found the best Medicare Advantage plan for me at myhealthpolicy.com.
Next is Mary. When she wanted answers, she picked up the phone.
I wanted a local perspective on plans, so I called myhealthpolicy.com.
And finally, Michael.
I prefer face-to-face, so I chose myhealthpolicy.com and enrolled on the spot.
Go to myhealthpolicy.com to learn about top-rated Medicare Advantage plans in your area, including $0 premium plans. Or call 1-800-GO-START. That's 1-800-GO-START. myhealthpolicy.com. Meredith Vieira is a paid endorser. KF Agency operates myhealthpolicy.com. Not connected with or endorsed by the U.S. government or the federal Medicare program. A licensed insurance agent may call.
The Medicare annual election period deadline is coming soon. I'm Meredith Vieira, here with examples of people who found the key to the right coverage at myhealthpolicy.com. Meet Larry. He likes doing things online.
I took my time and found the best Medicare Advantage plan for me at myhealthpolicy.com.
Next is Mary. When she wanted answers, she picked up the phone.
I wanted a local perspective on plans, so I called myhealthpolicy.com.
And finally, Michael.
I prefer face-to-face, so I chose myhealthpolicy.com and enrolled on the spot.
Go to myhealthpolicy.com to learn about top-rated Medicare Advantage plans in your area, including $0 premium plans. Or call 1-800-GO-START. That's 1-800-GO-START. myhealthpolicy.com. Meredith Vieira is a paid endorser. KF Agency operates myhealthpolicy.com. Not connected with or endorsed by the U.S. government or the federal Medicare program. A licensed insurance agent may call.
How did it end with Hendrick? I mean, your contract's up. wasn't bitter by any means. Just kind of just ended on a, I don't know, just petered out.
It just petered out. I mean, Rick and I are still really good friends.
Hooking line drive to left.
Rick and I are still
He gives up everything to get that ball.
very good friends when we see each other. We're not the kind of friends that call each other. I congratulate him when they win sometimes or whatever. And when I see him, we're very friendly. He always treats me with the utmost respect, always has. And regularly tells me that I helped his operation more than I'll ever know. And I believe I did help his operation a lot in 2009. It's just we weren't able to end on a high note. The enthusiasm that was brought
hit to center field
to the surface at Hendrick Motorsports in 2009 when I signed on and started working with those guys and started hauling ass was second to none, and it was very, very good for that organization. They were also in a contract year on their sponsorship in 2009, at the end of 2009, and they had not been winning any races with the 5-car and were kind of in dire straits with that, and Rick knew that too, and he made a move to put me in that car to try to get some results so that they would be able to sign some sponsors up, and it worked. We put together an incredible 2009 season. They signed sponsorship, long-term sponsorship for 2010 and 2011. So it all worked out, and Rick is very, he's a very first-class, classy guy, and so are all the people that work there. So I have nothing but love for him and all the people in that organization, and for the opportunity that I had to be a part of that team.
So, Mark, you go from on top of the world. Like we said, it kind of peters out in 2010 and 2011. And then we're going to, in the next podcast, let's give kind of a preview of the next podcast. And this is the last one that we're going to do in the chronological order, in the year order. So, and basically wrapping up your career in 2012 and 13, Michael Waltrip's deal, and then some various other rides that you had in 13. This is the end. I mean, this is the end of of your career. It's the end of the chronological podcast. Let's give kind of a preview of it's not the last podcast, but the last podcast of this year and career perspective.
So in the fall, not really even the fall. Yeah, it is the fall. It's somewhere around early fall. I get a text from Michael Waltrip, and first of all, to put it in context, nobody listening to this will know what I mean when I talk about wood grain steering wheel. But that's from the rapper standpoint. There's a lot of rap songs that talk about, their badass rides having wood grain steering wheel, gripping the grain and whatnot, and I was on that quite a bit, so it meant something to me at the time. So Michael texts me, and all it says, "What you doing?" And I text back, and I said, "Looking for something to drive with a wood grain steering wheel."
Now there's a great example of defense picking you up. They turned a sweet double play right there.
It's like, "Won't you come drive for me?" And I had never thought about it, but their organization had really gained a lot of speed and was really, doing well. Had the Toyota backing, and he had the Aaron sponsorship and all that stuff, and he had multiple cars and Martin Truex driving for him. And it was just. It was something to consider, so I did.
A 3-pitch strikeout.
So that kind of sets the stage for making the move to the Michael Walker Racing thing. I certainly was never going to run full time again. But if I could recreate what I had in 07 and 08, which was a 24 race schedule, in a good car and have some more fun, I was ready for that more than I was ready to just walk away from driving race cars altogether. And if you're going to drive a race car, for me, the place to do it was in Cup racing. It wasn't Xfinity racing. It wasn't truck racing. It was on the top level. If you could do it on a limited basis and drive cars that would haul, but Cup racing was what it needed to be. So that's what made everything, all the numbers work, everything work, and make it worthwhile. So in the next podcast, we'll go into 2012 and 13 and the things that happened with that.
So we're going to do that in the next podcast here on the Mark Martin podcast. We're going to wrap up the career of Mark Martin in NASCAR with 2012 and 2013, but this does it for 2010 and 11 here on the Mark Martin podcast.
Thank you for subscribing and listening to the Mark Martin Podcast. Remember to give us a 5-star rating in your app store. Connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Mark Martin POD. The Mark Martin Podcast is a production of the Accelerated Podcast Network.
There's a line drive.
The Medicare annual election period deadline is almost here. I'm Meredith Vieira, here with examples of people who started their search for coverage at myhealthpolicy.com. Meet Larry. He likes doing things online, so he started
At myhealthpolicy.com. I took my time and found the coverage I was looking for. And done.
Next is Mary. When she wanted answers, she picked up the phone.
I wanted a local perspective on plans, so I called myhealthpolicy.com and done. Switched to a better plan.
And Michael.
I met with a local licensed insurance agent face-to-face. And done.
Go to myhealthpolicy.com to compare top-rated Medicare Advantage plans in your area, including $0 premium plans. Or call 1-800-GO-START. That's 1-800-GO-START. Meredith Vieira is a paid endorser. KF Agency operates myhealthpolicy.com, not connected with or endorsed by the U.S. government or the federal Medicare program. A licensed insurance agent may call.
Race fans, it's time to buckle in and listen to the fastest hour in racing radio. Your driver is a multi-time NASCAR winner and Hall of Famer Mark Martin. We cover racing, grassroots, history, we bench race, we talk life, and most importantly, we smash the loud pedal. It's time to turn some laps on the Mark Martin Podcast.
Episode number 45 of the Mark Martin podcast, and today we got a big one. We're going to talk about the year 2009, a revitalization of Mark Martin's career. But before we do that, make sure to head on over to the website, markmartinpod.com, markmartinpod.com. Listen to the old episodes. Make sure to hit that connect button and get with us on social media at Mark Martin Pod on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Make sure to go and find it on your favorite podcast player and hit subscribe, whether it is Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or YouTube. Make sure to hit that YouTube channel, hit subscribe, and get all of the latest podcasts available on your favorite podcast player. But Mark, 2009, a transformative year, and in podcasts past, you've talked about having years that are big achievements for you, and this is one that you pointed out, 2009.
This is probably, to me, is the granddaddy of all of them. I mean, this is the year that I'm most proud of. And, you know, we dreamed about getting one more win, which was the lure to finally hooked me into the Hendrick Motorsports thing.
He was willing to sacrifice his body,
and to run full time, which I didn't really want to do. And but you know, I had been paying attention to Alan Gustafson And I had, especially after I decided that I would take the job, I listened to him on the scanner. I listened to him when he ran bush races with Kyle, previously the year before. So Alan was on my radar screen, and I liked Alan's style. He was really a smart guy. And Alan really was excited to have me drive his car. And as we covered in the previous podcast that covered 2008, I told you about the car that he built for the test and how it wasn't exactly completely fair to Casey Mears, because I feel like the cars that they built for me were a new generation of Hendrick Motorsports cars, and I think Alan's cars that he built me inspired the other guys at Hendrick Motorsports to step up their game as well. And that test at Charlotte really got everybody's attention, and that was back in October. So anyway, we go to Daytona for the Daytona 500 and set on the outside pole. So that was pretty incredible. I wasn't really used to going to Daytona and having a fast qualifying car. I was used to having the middle of the pack speed kind of car that we worked hard on making it handle. And so this was kind of new to me and really exciting. But I could just remember the energy that I felt from the race team. And you've heard me talk about that before, but there was just so much energy in this team. They were so excited to have me driving their car. And every time I would go to the shop, I'd come home and Arlene would say, man, you just smile, and every time you go to the shop, you come back, you got this huge smile on your face. And I'm like, Arlene, it's like going to NASA, man. It's just like nothing I'd ever been a part of. The quality of people and the professionalism and the team of guys, especially the road crew that I got to spend time with, were just so much fun. They were really serious, but they were fun at the same time. And we just had a good time. Our truck driver, Dean, his nickname was Squirrel. He was so much fun. Golly, I love him to death. I still love him to death. We stay in contact. What a super cool guy he was. And he was the biggest Mark Martin fan you could ever ask for. And just everybody that worked on the car. Josh did all the interior stuff, and that car was always like a glove, man. I mean, we worked and worked to get that seat, to just right for me. See, I wasn't really comfortable with making a change. I'd been in Butler seats ever since the Earnhardt crash and the safety stuff came along. I'd been doing Butler seats, and I was really comfortable in my seats and didn't want to change, but Rick, did the carbon fiber seats for everyone, his guys and everyone else that wanted to run them. And I just felt like it would be a slap in the face of those guys if I put a Butler seat in a Hendrick race car. So as bad as I hated to do it, we tackled it. They had to build a special seat. I mean, they use I don't know what you call it, but they use a outer part, carbon fiber part, and then they put a garbage bag in it, and they pour it full of this stuff that hardens, while you sit in it, so it feels all around your body, and that's called an insert. And they couldn't do one. They couldn't make me fit in an existing outer part. They had to build a smaller one, which they wound up using for Kelly Byers and Danica Patrick and a few other little people that came along. But they didn't have anything small enough for me, so they had to go through the whole act of building a mold to build a carbon thing for. But long story short, we worked and we got that thing comfortable. And Josh always did a great job. Just always felt like slipping into your recliner at home every time I climbed in that thing. But we go to Daytona and we're fast. I don't really remember what the circumstances were in the race. We were not a contender to win. We finished 16th. But, it could be worse for sure. And then we go to the second race. It was Fontana at the time, and we go to Fontana. And I don't remember what we broke in the engine, but those Hendrick engines were strong, and they didn't break very much. So we thought, that's unusual. We got 40th place. And so I was, stuff happens, So then we go to Vegas. We qualified 8th, and we're running real well at Vegas. And since I'd been driving for Jack for a long time, and we'd always struggled for fuel mileage, we always rode around on caution in 4th gear and just let the engine just chug, just to save fuel rather than run around in 2nd gear with higher RPM, burn a little bit more fuel. So I'd already been in a fuel saving mode for years, trying to just equal the guys around me. And the Hendrick guys hadn't been doing that, hadn't been lugging the engine around like that on caution. And so we blew up there too, and it was bearings. It was lack of oiling, and they figured out that they were going to have to increase the oiling. So we finished 40th there too. So we come out of the gate with a 16th and 2 40ths. So things aren't looking too good in the points, but we're fast. And we go, then the next race is Atlanta. And I remember right now, as I'm telling you, the qualifying, I remember standing. I remember the lap, first of all, which was spectacular. And it was a pole. And coming off of 4, I mean, it took my breath away. And I was, it was nighttime too. It was nighttime qualifying. And after you qualified, you pulled in behind the pit wall and parked and waited for all the qualifying to be over with. And I remember standing back there and just the camaraderie of the team and how they felt like such badasses and how fun it was. It was incredibly fun. It was so good to be around a team that was that excited. And we had trouble in the race. So we had a flat left rear tire or something. Something happened. I think we got in a wreck or something down in turn 1 and 2. Whatever it was disappointing, and we're 31st. So, man, we just suck points wise. I mean, we're running good, but we're buried in deep trouble. And the next race is Bristol, and we go sit on the pole at Bristol too. And finally start reeling off some finishes. We finished 6th at Bristol, and we went to Martinsville and finished 7th at Martinsville, which was a good run for me, a track that I hated. And then we went to Texas, and we ran 6th there. And then we went to Phoenix and hauled butt. I mean, we were fast as hell in practice. Set on the pole, and I remember how exciting it was to set on the pole and walk out of the garage area that night and see that car number 5